2017 Mid-American Conference Media Day is at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. It is appropriate that we're at a hall because Frank Solich's spot is reserved in the Ohio Athletics Hall of Fame, and you could certainly make the case in the College Football Hall of Fame, too. With Rob Cornelius, I'm Russ Eisenstein with the 13th year head coach of the Bobcats, Frank Solich. Before we get into this year, do you allow yourself to think about those moments that you've affected so many people and you've had so much greatness in your career? Or are you so focused on the here and now that you don't even think about that sort of stuff?
I'm pretty much into the present along those lines of thinking. But, I've been fortunate. I've been around an awful lot of good people in terms of my playing career. Awful lot of good people in my coaching career, and if it wasn't for being surrounded by good people, who knows where you'd be.
You are picked to win the MAC East. How does that feel?
Well, it feels good. I don't mind that at all. I've always that's where we want to be. That's where we want to end up, and so if they put us there, that's great. Somebody thinks we're pretty good. I think we have a chance to be pretty good. But there's got to be some things that come together. The MAC has gotten better year after year, I think, since I've been here. Really good coaches in the MAC. And there's a ton of NFL players that have come out of the MAC and playing great football in the NFL. So it's great football. It's pretty fortunate to be part of it.
After the bowl game, you have a chance to download, decompress, see what you're doing this season. 8-6. How do you grade out last year? At expectations, above, and what do you think is the next step? I think last year's defense one of the best I've seen in 25 years.
I don't like the way it ended last year. 8-6. That ball club was a better football team than 8-6. We've got to find a way to win all of those close ones at the end. And if you look at it, we lost too many. Our last two ball games. The MAC championship and the bowl game were lost on basically the last drive, and those things have got to get corrected. Our first ball game of the year against Texas Tech goes into double overtime. We lose it. We got to get those things corrected. We do that. We get better at the end in some of these games, and that comes down to us in terms of coaches too, getting some things adjusted. If we get it all taken care of, we'll have a shot to be pretty good.
Strengths and weaknesses right now. If someone were to ask you, Frank, and we are, so what would you say the strength of your ball club is, and what are you looking at from a weakness standpoint that you want to shore up?
Well, in terms of units, the defensive unit and the special teams unit ought to be really good. We've got our punter, our kicker, our holder coming back with a ton of guys that can cover. And defensively, we lost two players in Terrell and Blair that were special players. They're in the NFL. That's all you need to say. But they played so hard, and they were talented athletes. It's hard to replace them. But I will say that we have 4 or 5 rush ends that I think are going to be good. We have 2 of the 3 linebackers coming back, and they're special players. And so there's some pluses. There's a few things that we got to shore up. We got to get some depth in our defensive line, get some young guys some playing time in the early non-conference games so that they're ready for conference play as backup players, and get a few other things solved. Have consistent quarterback play. We get that done, we can be okay.
Yeah, and I think in the micro sense, that defense, I've never seen an Ohio defense better against the run, both numbers-wise and the eye test as well. They passed on both, and that was fantastic.
Looked pretty good, huh?
Yeah, they were an aggressive bunch now. They attack you, and if you get a defense that's physical like they are and can run like they could, then you're going to have yourself a pretty good unit. And I think we can have that type of unit again. Our guys can run, and they will be physical, so hopefully it plays out as well.
From a quarterbacking standpoint, is Maxwell the guy, at least right now? How many times have you been asked in the offseason, well, Coach, who's your quarterback going to be?
Yeah, well, certainly, you look at Quentin, and, he played in nine ball games last year, and actually, that's a considerable amount. And so he's got experience. He's really the one guy that we have that does have that kind of experience. Nathan Rourke, a junior college player, I liked what he accomplished in the spring, in a very short time here. So I think he has a chance to continue to develop in our system. So those two guys, I think, coming out of spring ball, Drew and Joey. Drew will be a true freshman in our program. Didn't have the advantage of spring ball, and Joey's been in the system for a while, knows it. But we need to get steady play from them. I expect Quentin to keep getting better. He has always been a guy that put in the time. He studies the film. He's smart. He can run. He's the prototype guy in terms of size, 6'3", 230 to 235, 4'7" in the 40. So it's all there. We just want to make sure that we help him with having consistent play and taking good care of the ball, because he can do a lot for us.
You look at this trip we're on, this business trip, A.J. Ouellette's back, and last year you spent a lot of that season not being able to play. What's the difference for you calling a game offensively with a guy who, if you have to, you can lean into him for 25 or 30 carries if the game calls for it? You didn't have it last year.
Dorian filled that bill a little bit for us last year. He's had some surgery in the offseason, but we expect that he'll be healthy. But, A.J.'s the complete back. He's a very physical back. He's very instinctive in hitting the holes. And, a lot of times backs don't have that instinctive ability to get to the hole. They're too busy reading everything. But A.J., he's good at reacting and good at his instincts. And he's got the kind of speed and the burst to be special. He's got great hands. So he's really the complete player. You'd like to see him healthy. We missed him last year.
Well, he was a coach basically on the sideline, so he had a year in that valuable apprenticeship program for you. We always ask you about your summer too, Frank. We want to know how you spent it, what you'd like to share. Was it a good summer for you? Take some time off?
It was a good summer. Got out to Boise to visit our son and his family, spent time with them. That was great. Cindy, our daughter who lives in Lincoln, Nebraska, her family came out to Athens, so we spent 5 or so days together doing a few things, on down the Hocking and canoes and zip lining and bowling and you name it, we did it. So it was great to see family again and enjoyed this summer.
We've actually bowled together before. You might remember that from a caravan trip that we had. So many stories going into year 13, so we'll stop it right there. Frank, it is always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for the visit, and we look forward to covering your ball club again this year.
All right, thanks, Russ. Thank
Joy
you guys.
to do it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
With
it.
Frank Solich and Rob Cornelius, I'm Russ Eisenstein. This is coverage of MAC Media Day 2017, presented by the Athens County Convention and Visitors Bureau on Bobcat TV.